it's your story to tell.
For me, photography is about sharing perspective, about seeing the world through other people's eyes, communicating past the barrier of language. Photography is
For me, photography is about connection, connecting with new people and places, and creating empathy and a new way to see the world.
Photography is my paintbrush to tell stories words can't quite convey.
Though listening is the best way to feel and learn, photography allows me to give you a glimpse of these remote rivers and its people.
Photography is capturing a moment of light, a slice of time which tells us a story.
Photography is your journey, no one else's. When you feel the need to snap a picture, snap whenever you're happy, mad, sad, in the moment. Don't compare it to nobody else's because it's your story to tell.
For me, photography is about sharing perspective, about seeing the world through other people's eyes, communicating past the barrier of language. Photography is everything.
A very good afternoon and good morning from wherever you're joining us from. Thank you very much for joining us in the 20th edition of Nile Science Wednesday. I'm happy to see you all here. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box. Please let us know your name, your country, your occupation, and your name, your occupation, your country, and organization, if you don't mind. We are going to start this session in the next few, but maybe just a brief introduction. My name is Daily Sive. I work for InfoNile, Underwater Journalists Africa, as the communications officer. At InfoNile, we cover stories on water and the environment in the Nile Basin. And it is out of this that we developed the Nilewell platform, which bridges the gap between journalists and scientists. So from the Nilewell platform, we came up with Nilewell Science Wednesdays, and this happens to be our 20th edition ever since we started these sessions. Nilewell Science Wednesday is a networking and learning platform for both journalists and scientists. And all through, we have been having different sessions, some covering journalists only, some covering both journalists and scientists, sharing some of the outputs they have developed from collaborating to develop science outputs. And so today, we are glad to be hosting National Geographic on one of their programs called the Photo Camp. And before I introduce them, I would just encourage each one of us to please keep introducing yourself. Please type in your name, your country, and your organization. And we hope at the end of the session, you'll be able to have learned something new. Feel free to ask your questions either in the chat box, or you can use the raise hand emoji, and I will direct your questions to the speaker at the end of the session. As we have always done, please ensure that your microphone is muted to avoid unnecessary interruption, and also use the raise hand emoji in case you have to interrupt the session midway. So like I mentioned, today we are going to uncover the power of visual storytelling with the National Geographic program called the Photo Camp. And we are pleased, or rather privileged, to have the National Geographic team, some of their members here. I will introduce the Impact Communications and Senior Manager at National Geographic, Dolly Meyer. Good morning, Dolly. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Deli. Hi, everyone.
Hi. We are so privileged to have you today. I would like you to briefly take us through this program, what it is about, and you can also lead us on to introduce the speaker of the day, Guerchom Debo from DRC. The floor is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to InfoNile for this conversation that we'll be having today. As Dalit mentioned, I'm with National Geographic Society, which is a global nonprofit that uses the power of science, exploration, education, and storytelling to illuminate and protect the wonder of our world. It is a great honor to be able to fund several National Geographic explorers who go out into the field, like Guerchom, and document the splendor of our world, but also showcasing the risks and the threats that it's facing to then create positive change. And so for this conversation, we'll be focusing on the storytelling component of this, of our mission. And yes, thank you, Guerchom, who is a National Geographic explorer and visual storyteller, who has had a long history with the society. He uses imagery to communicate and reflect on complex concepts like equality, cultural differences, and solidarity. He has led National Geographic photo camps in Uganda and Ghana. And in 2023, he actually received his grant for a project called Living in the Misery of the Mines, which examines the impact of mining on deforestation and the challenges faced by Indigenous communities. He completed his university education in communication and began photojournalism following his participation in the Congo and Conversation Project by Finbar O'Reilly and the Carmack Foundation. Guerchom is a distinguished photographer and is a recipient of Lens Culture Critics' Choice Award, the 2021 Albert Kahn Photo Canon Award, and the Photo Story of Emerging Talent Award at the Wild Screen Festival. He is passionate about projects that showcase local issues, with one of his first published projects focusing on the relationship between the community use of charcoal and the negative environmental impacts caused by lodging in the Virunga National Park. And without further ado, I will pass the mic over to Guerchom, who will go into his work as well as the National Geographic Photo Camp program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dolly. Maybe just to mention that Guerchom is also one of our former grantees for the Everyday Nile project that we did in 2021, 2022. So we are really honored to see that one of our grantees has really done well in his area of photojournalism. Guerchom, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think you can carry on from where Dolly left.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to all to join us. My name is Guerchom Debo, as Dolly have said, and I'm a visual storyteller from Jersey. I'm based in Goma, and I use photography to tell a story about my community and all the story around me. So when I started photography, the idea was to tell a story that is close to my heart, and that was to tell a story about my community. Because as African storytellers, many of our stories have been told by foreign people who are coming and tell stories. For me, as a young photographer, I was asking myself what could be my contribution on this storytelling in the continent, and my focus was I want to tell stories about my community and to let people understand better my communities. So I start this journey with a project called Makala. So this project is going through Virunga National Park and Kahuzi-Biega National Park so every time we talk about Makala in charcoal in English. So every time we talk about Makala, people around and all activists, they're talking about trees. And for me, we was missing something special, and that was community. And my question was why community can go in the park and start cutting down trees. So I just start following community to understand how they're doing. And the issue was very bigger than what I was thinking. So my story was about Makala, but I grow up the story and I go through a big challenge on parks and environmental issues, because the Makala wasn't only and environmental issues, but was linked to the socio-economic and conflicts. When I talk about conflict, it's like war. If we know about the context in Goma, so it's been many years war going on around. So also this business was a backup for armed group to get money and the resource. So it's come about a big challenge. So I go deep and deep of this story and I start developing until I meet the National Geographic Society and I get a grant to go and look on another side of the story, because it's not cutting only down the trees, but also looking to the natural resource. So people was looking for gold, and this make people cutting down trees. On another side, polluted the rivers. So this picture is just showing a river, and people are doing gold on the edge of the river, and after the river look like this. But also, that is the community. For them, looking gold is just looking something to eat, pay school fees, and make lives in at home. But on another hand, there are big trades going on, and that was about Chinese in the northern part of northeastern part of Jersey. So, since 2021, many foreign people came, mostly Chinese, to look for gold with big gears. So they are making gold everywhere, and they don't care about communities. They don't care about rivers. So until now, community, they are just going back and looking for the rest from the Chinese business. So if they can get small gold remain on this soil. And so for me, when I was in the field, every time I like to say, I don't look, I'm not investigation journalist. I don't do investigation. That is in English, I think. I don't do investigation, but I'm telling the community side of the story. So I'm going through I'm going through the community path just to see how they're feeling the change on her village and on her area. So this is a small community forest and a river. If you are seeing the highlights stuff on the river, is like a mercury, the chemicals they're using to clean gold. So all trash going through the river, and you can see in the river still some mercury remain. So people can't use this water for anything, because if you put clothes, they are just close, you can put it again. I don't know the good word in English. So if you drink it, you can die, because it's mercury, it's a very toxic chemical. And when you are going near the community who are doing this, you feel like they are not like rich. They are just doing it, and the big part of the business going somewhere else. So for me, again, this project go from 3 goals. Principle, when I started this project, the goal was showing people what's going on her owner village, because they are living on this area, but they are, when you are living on an area where something happening, sometimes we feel like it's part of our life, because we are seeing that change every time, and sometimes we can start normalizing it. But for me, was giving them this visual evidence so they can see how the land, how the place changed. And also for governments, the idea was also make them see what's happening on a remote area of GRC, because sometimes political men, they are going deeper to the remote area. So through my photography, I just try also to go on the place where I don't have access, so I can get access and bring back the story and say, yeah, this happening on this area. And on the people who are working on environment sector, so they can see what's happening, refocus the target, refocus project, refocus how they have to say, how they have to present this area, because also visual evidence can help people to understand better the issues. They can help them to feel what's happening in the community. So I was near the community, just trying to say, hey, this happening, you can see, and as gold is a big business and high, people can get more money on it, but the community is still starving, still working hard to get the rupees, remain on the big trade of business. So this is people who are coming back from the mining sites. And as you can see, still a small village, is not like big building, as we are seeing people who are putting jewelry, the gold jewelry. So you can imagine the contrast between people who are putting a gold jewelry and this community who are doing gold is like very different. And this is the kind of machine who are going on to Dinga for the big enterprise and around their communities, how they are living, because it's them who are doing the smart gold for the daily life. But during this project, the thing I like with this project, the thing I like to go into the remote place, I remember someone told me I'm the first visual storyteller to go and try to go on this area, particularly to this village, Moku, to tell the story about the community. But the thing I really like about photography, because my definition of photography is sharing the little light we are taking in the field. So the thing I really like is when you are presenting your project, when you are presenting your work, you can get some little impacts that we are able to see. And for this particular project, the impact was, I was presenting my work on the National Geographic Explorer communities, and I get the chance to have some scientists who join the project. And we get also the chance to get an extra grant, which is a grant in the Explorer community. We call it Meridian Grant. So we get the chance to get the Meridian grant to go back to this community and see how nature have been impacted, how the wildlife and community have been impacted. For me, as I said, I was just doing that first part on visual evidence to show people what's happening here. But during this journey, the second journey, we came back with scientists who are working in the wildlife sector, who are working in the birds. They are bird scientists. There are some of them who are working they are testing water quality. So we make a team with the whole the dynamic sector, so we can go and see exactly in terms of data what's happening on this community. So it was my chance to be the first on this village to come and tell the story and bring it back to the big community and get scientists now come back and see the impact. Because also the community on this area, we were not able to see the really impact on water or ecosystem, because they are just, I think the principal goal is just to meet the need, the daily need in the house. So they don't care about it to see how much the water have been polluted. They don't, they are looking a way to sustain the basic needs. So for me, come back with scientists who are looking basically for data, and the real impact was like a chance for me. And I was like, yeah, I can see the little impact on my work because now there are someone else who are joining the project. So this is the expedition with scientists. So the next part of the project was an expedition with scientists. We're still doing it. So we just finished the first expedition. We still need to do the second one. So, and we are looking for how ecosystem have been changed by the need of gold. So we was looking about bats. As you know, the Congo is like has the second big part of the second rainforest in the world, the Congo Basin Forest. So there are less scientists who are coming in and see which kind of space do we have, which kind of habitats this or that animal lives, how that can change the behavior of the animals. So for this particularly expedition, the first, so we was looking about bats, how bats have been also impacted by gold, how community, what is the thinking of community about gold and bats, what is the perceptions? So that was a scientist process. For me, I still photojournalist, I still photographer. So I was like following scientists and see how they are doing a job. So again, as I said, we just try again to join local communities because they are the one who are knowing they know the forest. They are the one who are living around the forest. So we was following them so they can show us the area around them, and that is come about the first relationship I built with them, the relationship, the presentation we came with also scientists. So we just try to build one piece community scientists and visual storytellers to make this happening. And yeah, we go around and see how where bad they're living. And as it's still ongoing project, we don't have outcome of the scientists' data, but for now, for the water, the one who are working with water, we think we have new space of fish, but a fish who are living on that dusty, if that is in English, a dusty water, a polluted water. There are small fish remain in that water, and we get one new species for the science. So that was also a clap for us, like we found something new. So we can have something to motivate decision. We can have something to people who will care about wildlife and say, yeah, this is happening. For also bats, we found many bats around, and most of them was little bats. And for the Batman, he's still thinking we do have a new species of bats, but still analyzing and go through the laboratory process to be sure like in new species. So that is a little bit about my work as a storyteller in Congo. And during the process, as I'm an explorer, I get a chance to go and to be part of the team on some photo camp. So photo camp is basically, without going on the big literature, so it's kind of an international storytelling program who introduce youth people to the power of photography. And during like 5-day entire program, we local communities. We just try, I like to say, to plant the seed on young people so they can learn, they can grow up with this storytelling settings, so they can tell their own story. Because sometimes I remember someone told me, if you want to change the story, you also change the storyteller. So empowering youth to telling story of your own communities, that help also to go through authentic stories where people are telling story about their own people. So photo camp would help and go through many countries and just to try to plant seed on young people and grow up with that love of storytelling through photography. Can be writing also. During the program we are going through writing, photography. We are going sometimes come about public speaking, if I can say that, like how you can that sector of podcasting, voice talking. We just try to build that and bring people to tell a honest story on a way they feel comfortable. And the last one was in Uganda, basically. That was the last one in April. So we stay 5 entire days with youth in a remote place, just to try to share the passion on photography. I will take a time to share you the outcome of this photo camp. So will be, I think, 8 minutes. We'll go through picture that students do during the photo camp. So I will just try to start sharing this and let you guys enjoy the photo camp Uganda.
Water is born in the clouds, falling through the sky before reaching the ground in droplets of promise. It then flows into rivers, awakens seeds, quenches thirst, and sustains every living thing. It is life-giving, moving in cycles, ancient and unbroken. Yet water is more than just a servant of nature. It also has a spirit of its own. When honored and respected, it heals. When conserved, it endures, but when neglected, it changes.
Climate change affects everything. This was my realization on the third day of the NatGeo Photo Camp, Uganda. I fully see water as Allah described it in the Quran, and we created every living thing from water. I cherish water very much because at some point of my life I had to carry barrels for kilometers only to provide our household. Before these experiences, I was not as conscious as I am now when it comes to dealing with water. And I see water waste all the time without people realizing that our planet is running out of it.
I thought of water as untouchable, eternal, and guaranteed. Because growing up in the village, I fetched water from a pond, having to make sure it was clean and free from debris, or pray that it rains heavily to collect enough rainwater in my bucket. It wasn't easy getting that kind of water for home use in abundance, so I learned to use my little water sparingly and responsibly. Sparingly using my water taught me that water isn't just a resource, but a blessing. In the latter, when I moved to the city, I had to use national water connection, which came at a cost. Meter readings with expensive monthly bills. I remained nostalgic about the good old days, the days when I used pond water from my 10-liter jerry can, or the rainwater I had collected after the rains. And it made me wonder, was water still a blessing, or was it now a subscription for survival?
Chewi, Zokuka, wake up. People of this planet who use and need water. Nature is calling for our help, but we ignore it. Water is changing its color. Forests are changing. What will you tell the next generation coming? Will you say, I wanted somewhere to throw my trash? Or, I wanted wood to cook because I was hungry? Chewi, Zokuka, wake up.
Water is something everyone needs. A need, if delayed, can cause disasters. Poor hygiene, drought. Don't you think, just as we treasure our loved ones, we could treasure water in the same way? I mean, as the famous saying goes, water is life. Why don't we protect water with our lives if we claim that water is life? Water reminds me of when my granny would send me to the well to fetch water for domestic use. A memory that is buried deep in me. The smile she would have when I bring her water from the well would even be seen by a passing stranger. After that, she would cook me a nice delicious meal using the same refreshing water. If water is protected, then memories are kept.
I want to shout out to my countrymen, fishermen, factory owners, all of us. Let us do better. Let's protect this lifeblood, not just for us, but for the kids who will inherit what we leave behind. Water isn't just a right, it's a promise we are breaking. What is water? It is us. It is life. Fragile and fierce, asking us to love it back.
Thank you all for watching this. So this is pictures have been done. All of these pictures have been done with, this is the team from the photo camp, the student team who are doing all picture I showcase. So during this program in Uganda, we have 20 students, and all of them work together and try to tell a story about water in the community in Uganda, and all voiceover that you hear about it. It's the text they have curated during the program. Some of them understand better the issue of water through the process in the photo camp. Some of them learn how to take the camera on the first time. Some of them learn how to write a storytelling piece, photography and pictures. So it's all together. We just try to put everything together and tell a story. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Guerchom. That was really surreal to watch and to hear the different stories from different people around Uganda and in Africa as a whole. Thank you so much for that. We are going to move into the next session of the program where I'm going to ask you a few questions about PhotoCamp, and anyone else who has questions, please feel free to type it in the chat box if you don't want to say them, to speak, like ask the questions directly. If not, you could use the raise hand emoji and I will call upon you to ask the question directly to Guerchom. Yeah, so my first question, Guerchom, everyone would want to know is basically how does someone get to participate in this? And for you to call it a photo camp, you call them students. What is there an age limit for those who are able to participate in this program?
So basically, the photo camp is going through a partnership with National Geographic Society and a local partner. And the local partner is the one who sets rules about who get in. For us, we are just going and want to meet young people. So it's depend on local community and local partner. Sometimes it's a partner who are working with young people until 25. It can happen, and sometimes just people on the secondary school. So it's really depend on the local partner. For the National Geographic Society, we just bring that expertise of explorers. We just bring gears and try to make the photo camp happening.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I don't know, Dolly, do you have anything you'd like to add on that?
I was just going to say, one, thank you again for this fantastic presentation, Guerchom and InfoNow, for the opportunity to add to Guerchom's response. Obviously, local organizations, but we also partner with universities and schools. So that's where you get the students kind of lingo from, right? Because a lot of the times, to Guerchom's point, the secondary school or college age students and the schools themselves could be our local collaborator, and they help identify the students that we work with, whether they've expressed interest in photography or this is their first opportunity to learn about it. And so we really rely on the community liaisons to help us build the curriculum and also introduce us to the students who will participate.
Okay, thank you so much for that. The other question would be, how do you ensure that the stories captured during photo camp reflect both authenticity and ethical responsibility, especially when working with vulnerable communities? Either of you can take up the question.
I think as we are used to say, each photo camp is special. So as we are photographer and we are working with people in the local communities, so all students come from the community. So they are exactly know the challenge in the community. They are know the, how can I say, what to say about the community. For me personally, I'm going through a process where I say, I want to present people in the way I would like to be represented. And I share that with everyone I meet through a photography journey. And we just try to teach or to share that way to also students, so they can have that ethics in journalism and grow up and bring it on the storytelling side of the journey.
Okay. Key to note is that you tell these stories, or rather, you take these photos the way you yourself would like to be represented, which is also very important. And the other question would be, how do you approach training young participants to balance artistic expression with factual storytelling, especially when covering topics like climate change for social justice? Artistic expression and factual storytelling, how do you balance that?
So, the thing is, during the photo camp, we are all staying together. And it's not only a journey through photography, we are talking too much. So it's kind of learning how to help every student in her own way and sharing experience. So, during the photo camp, it's kind of students talking together and try to explain each other. We have also that homework where students can also go deeper and deeper to learn about the topic. So we try to improve that creativity way. Also, how much they know about the topic.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Dolly, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I know we have spoken on this earlier, but the community liaison component is so critical to the success of the photo camp, and particularly when dealing with sensitive topics, because our mission, to Guerchom's point, is to really create that authentic experience for the students, and that wouldn't be authentic without understanding the challenges the community is facing, understanding how to not necessarily always solve for those, but how to illuminate those through storytelling. And so a key component of that is working very closely with the community liaison, identifying the challenges and what type of stories do they want to see come out of the photo camp, and how that showcases. What the example that he had shared with the video was actually part of the final showcase, is what we call, and that's where we invite local community members to watch the final, production of what the photo camp students have experienced throughout the week. And so it's very important to us to ensure we are painting an accurate picture with the lens of empathy and accuracy through working with our community liaison and working with the students.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Dolly. Empathy and authenticity are key, and accuracy as well. Thank you for highlighting that. The other question would be, what infrastructure or support is needed to replicate the photo camp model in other underserved regions, particularly where climate risks are high? I think, Dolly, you can come first, and then Guerchom can respond after.
Absolutely. And it's a really great and fair question. I think the beauty of a photo camp is really the gathering of like-minded individuals and students and learning. And so whenever this question arises, it's really where other organizations, whether it's a local organization that has a similar mission of storytelling and photography and introducing young people to that, are those organizations available in certain areas that can do a similar type of programming? Is there opportunities, whether that's virtual learnings and webinars on photography, or just really communicating and speaking to other groups, other like-minded individuals who would be able to offer some of their feedback and cadence on their own photography? I see a number of photojournalists, in the chat, and I think, can you lend your expertise to the next generation of storytellers? Is there an opportunity for you to just talk and go into the local community and speak with the youth? Because that is really the magic of Photo Camp. It's really building these connections within your local community, understanding the power of photography. And we rely so heavily on the community liaison for people like Guerchom, who lend their time and expertise to the students. So I always think about like folks who are on this call, like, do you have that organization? Do you have that community tie where you could go on and lend your expertise? That will really create that magic of Photo Camp anywhere.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know. It's about passing it on to the next generation, right? Building a community of other experts in the same field. Guerchom, do you have anything else to add?
I would like to also to say, maybe for people who are not young, if I can say that, there are other also programs around the continent. So you can just go and reach out and see what's happening. As Photo Nile have some project around. There are also other program with new is the South African company who are working with the society. They have a project called Africa Refocused, so they're empowering storytellers in Africa. And in Tanzania, there are also AfriSource for filmmakers, so who are going around the continent and try to tell a story about wildlife and communities. So it's kind of reach out and try to learn more what's happening everywhere and see how that can fit in your on a goal.
Guerchom, you said for those who are not young, they can look at other opportunities. That is good to know. I don't know. We had we featured NUF, I think a month or a month and a half ago, around sometime around March, and a couple of people who are here also were in the session during that we had in March. We shall be featuring them also later on in the year, and it's good that you have mentioned there are different opportunities for different age groups, so no one should feel left out in either of these opportunities. Yeah, my questions are done on my end. I would like to open the floor to everyone else who has joined us. I can see we are 26 participants. Feel free to use the raise hand emoji to ask the questions directly to either Guerchom or Dolly. In case probably you're not in a position to do so, please use the raise hand emoji and I'll call upon you to ask the question directly. Vanessa was asking the links. Maybe I can see Dolly has already shared for Africa Refocus. Is there anyone who has a question that would like to directly ask it to Guerchom? Please use the raise hand emoji and then I'll be able to prompt you to speak. And everyone is satisfied with what has been shared? Okay, that is good to note. There are a couple of links that Dolly has shared on the chat box. Dolly, there's a question for you on English. Is it only for open for English speaking? Probably you can just unmute and respond.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for that question, Vanessa. And so no, I want to make sure that's clear. It's a global program, and so part of our working with our community liaison is also working with folks who have different language backgrounds and are able to speak in different languages. We just had a photo camp in Japan, actually, and the the staff were speaking Japanese and English. We've had Spanish language camps, French language camps, Portuguese language camps. One of the beauties of having a global community of explorers is that we're able to really tap into everyone's very diverse backgrounds and cultural competencies, and able to showcase the work in various different ways. So I appreciate that question, but we definitely do expand it to beyond solely English speaking.
Thank you so much, Dolly, for that. And I can see there's someone who has just shared a question. First of all, this is congratulations to Guerchom. Your work is admirable and very noble. You inspire so many photojournalists. Yeah, I had mentioned that before we started. You've been doing a good job, Guerchom. Keep going. The sky is the limit. Yeah, I can see Ding Magot. Ding Magot was with Guerchom during the first Everyday Nile photojournalism project we had, and he's also congratulating you. I love how the project focuses on bringing out the challenges through photos. Yeah. So I can see Henry would like to ask the question. Andrew, hey, Henry, please unmute. Feel free to ask
Hello.
your question. Anyone else, please
Can
use the yes raise hand emoji. Henry, please feel free to go on.
Hello.
Yes, Henry.
Now, you people, you are speaking of some age bracket that you work with. Now, number one, what are the age brackets are you working with? Because young is relative. I think skills matters a lot. Then, must somebody have some prerequisite, some formal skills so that you can join you? And maybe those who are outside the age bracket that you are targeting, apart from joining these other like Africa Focus and other groups, how can you help them?
Dolly, could you please respond?
Yeah, I was having a hard time hearing the question a little bit, but it sounds like the first part was youth and what that means in the age range. And so it's usually between the ages of 15 to 25 for photo camp in particular. And that is really, again, working with our community liaisons, and identifying those students. And then for folks who are interested in, it sounded like interested in photography, but perhaps not within that age range or within, and had the opportunity to participate in a photo camp. I know we talked about Africa Refocus. We talked about some other organizations within Africa that offer services like that. I would also recommend any type of virtual webinars or learnings if there's folks who are interested in that type of photography and learnings. But I want to make sure I answered or heard all parts of the question. But yes, we recognize that there's such a passion for photography and storytelling, and access is not always feasible. And so Photo Camp is just one element in one program. One component of Photo Camp that we didn't mention is that sometimes with the photo camps, we obviously have our week-long session, and then we will sometimes we repeat the photo camp in the same area with new students. A lot of the times we'll have a new branch of students, and then the students from the previous camps, they will become team leaders. They will go on to become National Geographic explorers, do our grant making process. And so one of the beauties of the photo camp program is even if you're outside of the age range, initially, there's opportunity to re-engage with the organization and re-engage with the program at a later date. And that's really through working with our community liaison to identify those students. There's also things that have been born from photo camp, like one of the explorers who wasn't able to join, but Jahawi has been working on a Storytellers Club, essentially a very similar program to Photo Camp within Africa as well. So there is opportunity to engage post the camp, and for all different age groups and age ranges.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Dolly. There's a question from Ajok Brenda. Ajok, kindly unmute and ask your question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for giving me the chance to answer this question. Guerchom, I really love your work. I'm really impressed by it, especially by how you've captured, the details. I was just curious, what cameras did you use to take these pictures? And are those sort of cameras provided to the students who are working with you during photo camp? Because I could see that there was a difference in the quality of the pictures that Guerchom has and what the students were showing. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Brenda. It's important to note that as well, Guerchom.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. So I will start by saying, I don't know, but someone told me like the matter of photography is not the gear, is the story behind, So and again, someone also told me like when we are going through songs or poems, the pen people are using, they are not, is not the matter. The matter is the song, the word they are using. So I think for my honor gears, I'm using Canon, and sometime I use Leica. For students during the photo camp, they are using basic camera because we are traveling with 20 cameras in many countries. So we just need basic kits where people can learn and use it for the process. So that is my answer.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Guerchom. There's a question by Susan Haita. Climate change impacts different age groups differently. How are you able to take this into account in order to avoid bias and misinformation in your reporting? I think I'll direct this question to Susan, and then the other question by Joe, I will let Dolly answer it. How can they submit a project to National NatGeo, basically? So the question on climate change, Guerchom, kindly respond to that.
Sorry, I didn't hear well the question. Can you repeat, please?
It's climate change impacts different age groups differently. How are you able to take this into account in order to avoid bias and misinformation in your reporting?
Let's say, as I said before, we're just trying to go deeper and get more information we can. And since we are telling a community story, so it's not our story, but community story. Every time we just try to bring the community voice instead of our voice. So we just, I have to say we have that tool between community and people who are saying the story, who are where we are sharing the story. So we are just in the middle. And the principle, the ethics of in photography or journalists said, you just have to, you have to be in the middle of the thing, so you don't put your own view, your own point of view in a community stories. So I don't know if I answered the question.
I think you did, basically by observing the principles of photography and journalism, basically. So unless maybe Dolly has something to add on that, Dolly, probably you can add on that and then also respond to Joe's question, and then we'll quickly move on to the next part of the session because I can see we have run out of time. Dolly?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that question. So to add first to what Guerchom was saying, I think obviously recognizing that there is always going to be like internalized bias, but one of the beauties of the photo camp program, again, is working with the community liaison and understanding the needs of the community and allowing them to really drive the story, drive the outputs, drive what we're capturing, where we're going, who's taking pictures of what. All of those things are driven by within the local community. And that really helps us to control and mitigate any bias. that is resulting from the photos. And then just to answer the question about grants or for a project, I'm going to drop the link in here. On that page is our grants and investments page. You'll see requests for proposals or RFPs, and that is really the best way if you're seeking to submit a grant proposal. It's really the only way. It's basically seeing what we are looking for and then submitting to that. And then each of them have different deadlines and point of contacts and whatnot.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know. I think anyone else would like to get further information about NatGeo, how they can work with them. The links have been shared and the contacts are also on the screen right now. So I can see we are done with the questions. We'll quickly move to the next part of the program. And my colleague Primrose will be here to answer the question. Hi, Primrose, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Debbie.
Good afternoon. How are you? I think just a minute, Prim, before you proceed, I can see that there's a question by Brenda and Moise. Please, Guerchom, kindly take note of the two questions. You'll answer after this part as you're giving your parting shot. Yeah, in the meantime, please, Primrose, carry on.
Okay. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody. This is a trivia question section. My first question is, photography is the core skill at the NatGeo Photo Camp, but what other creative skills do participants get to learn? You could mention two other creative skills that participants get to learn at the NatGeo camp apart from photography.
How many seconds do we have in the interest of time, Primrose?
Maybe 10 seconds and we close the session, the section, sorry.
No, per question. How many seconds per session? Per question, sorry.
Maybe we
like
could
5 seconds?
10. No, 10.
10.
Okay, yeah, 5.
Okay. Okay, please ask the question, then we time 5 seconds and we move to the next because we are short of time.
I've already asked the first one.
Is there anyone else with an answer? Caroline says storytelling and investigative journalism. What's the right answer, Primrose?
So the other two creative skills are writing and voice narration. Okay. So the second question. The second question is, which unique component of the NatGeo Photo Camp transforms how young participants perceive their world? Which unique component? I'm going to give you like 3 answers and you pick the correct one. The question is, which unique component of the NatGeo Photo Camp transforms how young participants perceive their world? Number 1, learning to take photos professionally. Number 2, documenting real community stories through photos. And number 3, competing in international photo contests. We have answers from Caroline and Henry Owino. Do you have any other? Okay.
I think let's see.
All right. So yes, Carol was the first to get it, and it's number 2, which is documenting real community stories through photos. The third question is, where was the last photo camp held?
That's a good one.
Okay.
We
have to. Okay, we have 3
Let the answers
answers.
keep coming. Is there anyone else with a different answer? Okay, I think let's close.
Okay. Yeah, we have Carol got it right first, which is Uganda. Yes, the last photo camp was held in Uganda. The fourth question is, which massive rainforest in the DRC is the second largest in the world after the Amazon? Which massive rainforest in the DRC is the second largest in the world after the Amazon?
Mm-hmm. 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 Prim?
Okay, I think Susan got it right. I don't know. Okay, Susan said Congo, but I wanted you to say Congo rainforest. And then Carol says Congo Basin rainforest. Then who do you think it's to?
I don't know. I think Guerchom or Dolly will advise.
Yeah, we will advise on that. And then the last question will be, when was the NatGeo Society founded? The last question is, when was the NatGeo Society founded? Which year?
Uh-huh. Now someone is going to Google. We close it very fast. Uh-huh. What's
Okay,
the
all
answer?
right, I think it's close. So no one got it right. I see 1960, 1958, and 1961. Yeah, but NatGeo was founded in 1888.
Mm-hmm. I can see Akini did a good job in Googling. Akini, good job. She has sent to me directly. She has sent to me directly. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for joining. Primrose, what do you have to say to the participants? I think the winner is Caroline. She got two,
I think
and the
it's
other one was a
two.
little. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think Carol did well. I think
Mm,
Henry was also doing well, but he was coming right after Carol. Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, the prize goes to Carol. Well done, Carol. But
Okay.
they didn't tell us.
Congrats.
You advised that we should hear from Guerchom what the forest is called. Is it just
Guerchom.
Congo?
So we are just call it Congo Basin Rainforest.
Oh, so Carol was
Yeah,
actually right.
and that is going through 6 countries, and Congo get the big part of that. So it's not only in Congo; it's on
Okay.
6 countries. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Congratulations, Caroline. Primrose will follow up with our finance to see how you can get your prize. Good job. I think there are two questions, Gwasham, that I'd like you to quickly answer, and then you give your closing remarks, and also I'll hand over to Dolly to give her closing remarks, and you can close the session today. The first question is from Moise: can a phone be used in photojournalism? And then a joke, Brenda: does the photo camp encourage young scientists to join the camps? Is it open for scientists as well?
For the phone question, I would say yes, because everyone don't have access to cameras, so you can use the tool you have to tell story. As I said, the camera there is not the matter. The matter is the story behind and how you share it. So you can use your phone, and not only iPhones as we think. You can use all phone you have to capture moments. So yeah, definitely you can use your phone. Young scientists in photo camp, yes, because the photo camp, as I said, is also to plant the seed on young people. So it can be someone who are touching the camera for the first time. So yeah, we don't exactly select people from the background, but we just select people who are want to learn photography.
Okay. Yeah, so the answer to your question was yes. I think
Yeah.
that question was by a joke, Brenda. The answer is yes. So I'd like us to come to the end of this. Gwashon, quickly, do you have closing remarks, or do you have maybe a parting shot?
I would like to say thank you for everyone for question and interactions. And if there are other questions, if You really need to reach out in a way on other. There are all contact, and we are very open to answer all questions. So we are here to share. So welcome.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Guerchom. The sky is the limit. Keep rising, keep shining. We'll be here to cheer you on. Dolly, is there
Yes,
anything you'd like to let us know?
thank you. Thank you so much, Deli, and thank you, Prim, and the entire team at InfoNile. This has really been a wonderful conversation, and thank you all for your in-depth questions. I really appreciate that. I would just add that photo camp, there will actually be another one in Africa this year in Namibia in December. If folks are in their region and interested, we do have capabilities to have local journalists also come and experience a photo camp, come to a final show. I'll share the more concrete details with Deli and we can share it out within this network. But it's a beautiful thing to witness. You saw some of the photos that Guerchom showed of the students in Uganda, and we welcome any and all interested parties to kind of learn more about the work. You have my email address there for any inquiries, and then our Instagram, where you can see the photos again of students at the camp, but also photos taken by the students to really showcase the power of photography. So thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you too for your time, Dolly Maya. Thank you also for making this possible and reconnecting us to Guerchom Debo. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our session today. Thank you so much for making time to join us. If you have someone or you have a recommendation for either a scientist or a journalist who you think his or her work will be beneficial to our network and the general public, feel free to write to us info@infonile.org. We'll be glad to host you in any of our upcoming session. Yeah, so we have come to the end of today's session and we really appreciate your time and your patience and also your participation. I will share an email with the live session recording and even the presentation from Guerchom in case you'd be interested to revisit. A special thanks to NatGeo and Guerchom Ndebo for making this possible. I wish you the very best. Have a good morning for those in the US, and for those of us in Africa, have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.